Okay, so first off, it's okay to put this on YouTube, on social media, on my site, and all the rest?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, yes, yes.
great. Okay, so what do you have to share? All the good stuff.
Um, it's been a kind of a busy week, but it's been good. I mean, I've been doing good this week. I haven't felt the anger that I had been feeling, so I guess that's improvement.
Good.
Not saying that it's all gone, but at least it's not, as intense as it has been. So I'm happy about that. Um, yeah,
So,
and I'm not feeling, and I guess the good news is with that, I'm not feeling like guilty or feeling like that means, oh, I have to open the door for my mom,
good.
which
Excellent.
is generally what happens when I let go of the anger. But I'm not feeling that at all. So that's an improvement.
Good. What about staying in the house by yourself?
No, that ain't happening.
Not yet. Okay, we have time. We have
No.
time.
And in fact, I had an experience, I can't remember what day it was this week, where my husband um, had to go inside and leave me out in the car when we went somewhere at this person's house. And it was getting dark. Well, it was dark actually. And I absolutely had an anxiety attack.
Okay.
I did start tapping while I was having it, trying to, you know, get control of it. But yeah, but leaving me in a car, whether it's daytime or nighttime, is a huge trigger for me because that's something my mother did all the time outside of ours. Um, but night times are definitely worse.
So, where do you want to take it this week?
Uh, I'm not sure. Maybe there.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Maybe that experience of I mean, that was just a real scary thing. Just
Well, I can imagine as a little girl, it's a really scary thing. Bars are,
that's what I'm talking.
yeah.
That's what I'm talking. When I it was, my mom and her boyfriend, who slash later became her husband, they practically lived at the bar. And occasionally she would take us in the bar with her until, we'd be there with her all day. And then at 9 o'clock, you couldn't have kids in the bar anymore. And instead of going home, she would just send us out and to the car. Other times we'd be going looking for him to get him out of the bar. And I'll just be a minute. I'm just going in. And then hours later. And, there were a lot of times that it was closing time before they ever came back out. And so, it was seeing drunks stumbling out of the bar. There were bar fights in the parking lot and always wondering, oh my gosh, is somebody going to pull a gun? Are we going to be killed? And, just all those real scary scenarios.
When you think about it now, what do you feel like?
Probably this area, like this area.
In front of you or inside?
Inside. Inside.
0 to 10, what's its number?
Probably about a 6 or 7.
Can you make it stronger? Like to a 10?
It's possible. I have to be honest, I'm feeling a lot of pain in this area today, even before we started, so it's kind of hard to focus on anything other than that.
So why don't we first try getting rid of that pain in the neck and shoulder?
Okay.
Okay, how strong is that pain?
Sorry.
How strong is the pain?
It's also probably about a 7, 8, something like that.
Notice it has a color attached to it. What's the color?
I don't really see a color.
Okay, so just pull it out.
Pull what out?
The pain.
Okay.
Just pull it out.
How do I just pull it out?
Yes, like this.
Pulling it out. I have done this before.
Yeah, you've done it before. Use your imagination.
I have actually done like this with pain before, so.
Okay.
It's not coming out of the back of my head.
Try as best you can.
That makes it kind of hurt because I do things over my shoulders. It's painful.
Okay. Hold it in your hand in front of you. You got it all?
Hold. Okay.
You have it all?
No, it's still there.
Oh, it's still inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do a tapping on this. Okay? Start tapping. This pain,
Pain.
whatever it means,
Whatever it means.
it represents
Whatever it represents.
all the sensations,
All the sensations.
all the colors,
All the colors.
all the images,
All the images.
all the conflicts,
All the conflicts.
whole world on my shoulders,
The world on my shoulders.
what a pain in the neck,
What a pain in the neck.
all the conflicts around it.
All the conflicts around it.
Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
To let it go.
It's time to heal.
Time to heal.
I don't need it anymore.
You don't need it anymore.
It's an old program.
Old program.
Used to work.
It used to work.
Thank it for its hard work.
Think it's for its hard work.
Trying to keep me safe.
Trying to keep me safe.
The only way that knew how.
It's the only way it knew how.
But I have better tools now.
And I have better tools now.
And I'm using it to keep us all safe.
I didn't hear that.
I'm using it to keep us all safe.
I'm using it to keep us all safe.
It's safe to let it go. It's time to let it go.
It's safe.
Time to heal. And let us all heal.
It's
I
time
need
to let-
anything more. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm safe. We're all safe. It's safe to be safe.
Safe
Grab
to
your
be
wrist.
safe.
Breathe in. Okay, go back to the pain, see what's changed about it.
I still feel it in my head and my neck.
How strong? 0 to 10.
It's still the same. It hasn't gone down.
What happened right before you felt it?
I'm not sure.
Think back. Started today, right?
I have it often. It's something. It's pretty common for me to have.
common. I see. Okay. Have you ever checked it out with the doctor?
Yeah, and I have a C1 and C2. My vertebrae are fused together. Apparently I was born that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can tend to cause me some issues.
Mm-hmm.
And they mostly contributed to the fibromyalgia. Yeah.
And are you taking medications for it?
I have an intense phobia of medications or anything like medication. I can't even take a vitamin. I am too terrified.
Well, let me ask you this. Has your doctor told you you should be doing something with it?
Well, yeah, they would like me to take medication
And you're just not taking it because you have a phobia of it?
because I'm terrified of it.
I see.
It's not like I'm not like a little afraid. For over 20 years, I didn't even eat hardly any food without spitting it out or drinking things because I haven't had an intake phobia of everything, not just, medicines or vitamins or whatever. It's only been since about 2006 that I have been able to eat without that extreme fear. And it's still not completely gone. I mean, I still have it to some degree, the fear with the food. But it's definitely still, yeah, I like I said, vitamins, minerals, medication, any of that.
Okay. Do you want to get down to the bottom of the phobia?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So I want you to feel the phobia
Okay.
and feel the reason for the phobia.
I know when it came in.
Yeah, when did it come in?
When I had a miscarriage, that I ended up in intensive care for 3 days. And it was in 1984. And I developed migraines, just excruciating migraines. And the doctor had given me a medication while I was there that helped. And when I went home, he gave me some more, but he only gave me 5 pills. And he said, when they're gone, they're gone. And so I was still having headaches after the pills were gone. So I asked my sister for some Tylenol. She gave me some, and I had set them out on the counter for a couple of days. And then when I went to take them, I noticed they felt sticky, but I thought it was probably because my fingers were sticky. And I went ahead and took them, and about 20 minutes after I took them, I felt like I couldn't breathe. And it was during the time that here in the U.S., it was the second time that Tylenol was laced with cyanide. And I became terrified that that's what had happened. But I never went to the hospital or anything. I just kept having this panic attack that lasted all day till the next day. And from that moment, I became terrified to put anything in my mouth, like anything. And I was afraid to be around people. I was afraid to put on lotions or makeup, it was horrible. It was absolutely a horrible time.
Mm-hmm.
And the backstory of the miscarriage is that I was pregnant, and my mother would have been my third pregnancy, and my mom and my dad basically guilted me and shamed me into having an abortion, something I did not believe in, and I let them talk me into it, essentially. And I went to have the abortion. The first week they sit you in a classroom with a bunch of other people for about 20 minutes and explain to you what the procedure is, show you this little tube that they say, now see if it's not a baby or it wouldn't fit through this tube. So basically convincing you that it's not a baby. Mm-hmm. And then you go back the following week to have the actual procedure. And I went back the following week, went through all of the steps until the very last one where they would have done the abortion, and they called me in a room and said, I'm sorry, you're too high of a risk. We can't do this. I was devastated, didn't know what I was going to do because, my parents had convinced me I couldn't handle another child, and it was the best thing for me to do. When we left there, I started spotting, and my mom had said to me, well, it looks like God's going to take care of it himself, and I didn't know what she meant by that. I called my gynecologist, who didn't know I had planned on having an abortion, and he told me to go right to the hospital to have an ultrasound, so I did. And I thought maybe I was pregnant for twins because my husband was a twin, or his mother was a twin, excuse me. And so immediately I felt like it was God telling me I was supposed to have this baby. So from Friday through the weekend, I am talking to the baby. I am telling it how sorry I am and that I would do whatever I needed to do. to make sure it was born and healthy and safe. And then on Monday, I got a phone call from the doctor. They asked me to come in that afternoon. So I went in and I got into the room, and I mean, when the doctor came in, he didn't even have the door shut behind him. He just, well, the baby's dead. So the baby had died in utero. And he wanted me to carry it for a couple of weeks to see if I would naturally abort it. And I didn't. And so he had scheduled a D&C. And I was terrified to be put to sleep. I had had a really bad experience with my first cesarean with Trish, where they had given me the medication backwards. And so I was still conscious when they gave me the suffocating medication. So I was terrified to be put to sleep after that, and was begging them, don't put me to sleep, don't put me to sleep. Can't you do anything else? But they had to put me to sleep, telling me it'll be 30 minutes, you'll be back in your room, no big deal. And I ended up waking up 3.5 hours later in intensive care. They called my family up there to tell me goodbye because they didn't expect that I would live through the night. I did, obviously. And I stayed in intensive care for 3 days, and then they put me in a regular room. And I remember being upset about it all and crying, and my mom and my dad went and got the psychologist that I was working for to come and see me, because they were afraid that I was going to revert back to how terrified I had been, because I had started doing better about being by myself. I mean, I still wasn't staying by myself, but I had started not that by myself, but going out in public, because I had developed agoraphobia after I'd had my first daughter. And so she was afraid I was going to revert back to that because I was emotional about what had happened. And so my therapist came and talked to me, and I said, I just lost a baby and I almost died. I think I have a right to a few tears. And she said, absolutely. I think your parents are the ones who need to be in therapy. But I was never really allowed to, talk about it or feel bad about it, because I didn't want it. And I've always felt like it knew I didn't want it. And so it chose not to come. Like it died of a broken heart because it knew I didn't want it.
Have you ever worked on this?
Not like this. I've worked on it like in regular therapy and written letters and released balloons and did things like that. And I thought that I had let it go, to be honest, because I had been able to talk about it without crying for many years.
What's your emotional charge right now?
What do you mean?
How strong is 0 to 10?
Yeah, a 10.
Okay. I want you to take it all and put it on the shelf. Which side is your past? What's your past? Okay. To a good place. Good place to go to. Right. Imagine that tree in front of you. What would happen to that tree if I stuck my hand in and I pulled it out by its roots?
I think you said it turns into butterflies.
That's right. Stop tapping. Letting go of all fears.
Letting go of all fears.
Letting go of all sadnesses.
Letting go of all sadnesses.
Letting go of all emotional traumas.
Letting go of all emotional traumas.
Letting go of the helplessness.
Letting go of the helplessness.
Letting go of the hopelessness.
Letting go of the hopelessness.
Letting go of no control.
Letting go of the no control.
Letting go of the guilt.
Letting go of the guilt.
Letting go of the shame.
Letting go of the shame.
Letting go of the blame.
Letting go of the blame.
Letting go of the trapped feelings.
Letting go of the trapped feelings.
Letting go of the angers.
Letting go of the angers.
Letting go of the fears.
Letting go of the fears.
Letting go of the conflicts.
Letting go of the conflicts.
The inner conflicts.
The inner conflicts.
The outer conflicts.
The outer conflicts.
Whatever they all mean.
Whatever they all mean.
Whatever they represent.
Whatever they represent.
The lack of love.
The lack of love.
Lack of recognition.
Lack of recognition.
Conflicts.
Conflicts.
Let it go.
Let it go.
Safe to let it go.
Safe to let
Time
it
to let
go.
it go.
It's time to let it go.
Time for us all heal. It's all in
I
the
think
past,
so.
and the past is
It's time.
over.
It's all
Baby's in a better place now. Up in heaven,
baby's
looking
in a
down
better
at you, and we want you to be happy, wanting to love you. Let everything else go. Safe to let it go. Time to let it go. Time to heal. We're all safe. It's safe to be safe. It's safe to heal. Grab your wrist. Breathe in. Blow out. Go back over there. And see yourself sitting in the chair. And see the baby sitting in the chair next to you, opposite you. And tell the baby what you need to tell it.
I'm sorry. Just I'm sorry.
Now step into the baby. The baby has to answer you back.
I feel like I can't even presume to speak for what the baby would be thinking or feeling or wanting to say to me.
You do know that it wasn't in your hands. You didn't do the abortion.
No, but I would have. If they would have done it, I would have. So it wasn't. I can't even imagine what it would have felt like if I had, if I feel this bad.
But God saved you from it. God saved you from doing the abortion. Thank God for saving you from doing the abortion. And know that this baby wasn't supposed to be. The baby didn't die from a broken heart. The baby knew the pressures you were under. The baby knew that at that point you didn't have the frame of mind to be able to make your own decision. And it knew that if you could have made your own decision, it would have wanted to keep you. You would have wanted to keep it. But God also knew that it wasn't the right time, the right place, and decided to take the baby back up in his arms.
I don't understand. Like, I should have died. I should have died that night. I mean, the doctor fully expected it, but I didn't.
Because God had other plans for you. God knew you had other things you need to do in this life. It's not for us to decide when we are born or when we die. The only thing we can decide is what we're going to do in the interim. And God knew that you had other things that you needed to do. And that's why he kept you alive. And you're doing them. You're doing them right now. And you're doing them in honor of that baby and in memory of that baby. And that baby knows how much you love it. And I have no doubt that that baby's up there in heaven looking out for you, guiding you where you're supposed to be going to.
Yeah. That would be nice.
I have no doubt. When you were in that situation with your mother and father, stepdad or father?
It was my father. Yeah, it's a weird relationship.
It's your father. You were not in control of your life. You were still under their control.
I mean, I was married and I was on my own.
Yes, I know. They still had the control
but
over you.
They did. They did.
The thing about parents, they tend to have this control over their children that you can't define, you can't explain.
Yeah.
But you got in the gift. You've learned. You're not under their control now.
No.
And that was the important thing. Learning to be independent, learning to think for yourself.
I'm seeing that getting stronger. I am. I mean, I'm seeing my dad is still my weak spot where that's concerned, because I was always closer with him than my mom. And I can look back at my childhood and I do have some happy memories with him. I mean, a lot of laughter where he was concerned when he, wasn't in prison.
Right.
When he came home. But there's still issues, you know what I mean? There are still things where he's concerned that are very, very hurtful. And I know he hadn't been feeling well and I had been checking on him. But then I started dealing with, working with you and dealing with this and really feeling the anger that I had. And I just found myself feeling like I should call him and check on him instead of like I wanted to check on him. And to be honest, I just kind of honored the way I felt, and which was I'm not doing anything because I should do it.
That's fine.
So I haven't, but there's been a little bit. I've still felt a little bit of guilt where that's concerned. But part of these things that I'm doing because I'm still trying to show my inner child that I will do what she needs. And so I'm trying to take steps to honor that, and in so many ways, that little girl in me feels so betrayed by him.
Right.
That I need to show her that no matter who it is, I'm going to take your side. I'm going to honor you. Because until she knows she can trust me, she's not going to let go of these coping skills, and I get that.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to take steps towards doing that.
Mm-hmm. Good. I want you to close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to see your mom and your dad on that stage in your mind, doing something meaningful to them. And I want you to start tapping. I forgive you, Mom and Dad.
Do something that is what? Meaningful to them?
Meaningful to them. Whatever it might be. Does it make a difference?
I have no idea.
What would make them happy? So just see them on the stage. It's okay. Just see them on the stage. And start tapping. I forgive you, Mom and Dad.
I forgive you, Mom and Dad.
For not being the mom and dad that I wanted you to be.
For not being the mom and dad that I wanted you to be.
For not treating me the way that I wanted you to treat me.
For not treating me the way that I wanted you to treat me.
For not loving me the way that I wanted you to love me.
For not loving me the way that I wanted you to love me.
It really wasn't very good.
It really wasn't very good.
And I don't forgive you because you were right.
I don't forgive you because you were right.
I don't forgive you because I condone what you did.
I don't forgive you because I condone what you did.
I forgive you
I forgive you
because it's the best that you had inside of you. You couldn't give me something that you didn't have yourself.
I can't say that. I cannot say that.
You think that they had better inside of them?
I absolutely know they had better inside of them because they would give it to other people. So I absolutely believe. I keep trying to ascribe to that thought of, well, if they knew better, they would do better. No,
I think if they knew better,
seen,
they would do better. They just didn't have it in them to begin with.
but they did. They did. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've watched my mother stand up for other children. I've watched that. I mean, I've heard my dad say something, well, oh, I would kill him. No, you wouldn't. I just watched a program the other day where it was on yesterday on Kai TV, where this rabbi was talking about all of these women sitting around, and they were in, it was at a conference, and this woman was the CEO. He just used this as an illustration. This woman was the CEO of America. This one was CEO of the world. This one was CEO of a universe. And then it came to his wife, and she says, well, I take care of unwanted children. I feed them, I clothe them, I take care of their needs, I do all these things. And they're all like stunned, they're all shocked, like, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. What an amazing thing that you have just done. And then she says, yeah, they're my children and no one else wants them. And all of a sudden, all of their reactions were like, oh, well, she's just a mother. And the point was, when they thought it was somebody else's children that she was taking care of, it was a great thing. It was a great thing. And I see that with, like, when I look at my mom or my family, if the things that have happened to me were happening to someone else, she would be all up in arms and getting in the people's faces about what kind of parents they were. I've heard her do it. I've seen her do it. I've seen her sit in my living room watching a television show, talk show, Sally Jesse Raphael, where this mother was there with her teenage daughter who told her that the mother's boyfriend was sexually abusing her. And the mother was basically not listening to her, blaming her, not doing anything to help her. And I heard my mother sitting there in my living room saying, oh my gosh, what kind of mother would do that? So she knew it was wrong. She knew what she was doing was wrong. But she just chose not to do it. She just chose not to do what was difficult for her to do. She took the easy way out. So I don't think she did the best that she could.
Okay.
I want to believe she did, but I don't.
It's okay. I can understand where you're coming from. I can understand where you're coming from. Let's take it from a different angle. What would little Jenna have wanted to do? Have you
With
do
what?
with this whole thing?
I think she was thinking you were going back to the thing that you had shared with me about forgiveness. It's forgiving, like forgiving it back to them, as opposed to doing a forgiveness where.
Okay. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to call all the Jennas that suffered because of this behavior. Every
Okay.
single one of them call.
Okay.
How many do you think there would be?
20, 25.
Okay, so call them all. When you take a look now, how many are there? There's still 25, or are there more or less?
I'm not sure how many there are. There's a lot.
A lot, okay. And if the karma karma police came and took
Mhm.
all that stuff out of all of them, every single one of them, and put it in a
Mhm.
big pile far off,
Mhm.
how big do you think that pile's going to be?
It's pretty huge.
Pretty huge. How big is huge? As big as the Empire State Building, as big as Mount Everest.
I see a mountain.
Mountain. How big is the mountain? Which mountain is
Probably
it?
not Mount Everest mountain.
Not Mount Everest, okay. The Himalayan
It doesn't feel as
Mountains,
big as Mount Everest. It feels more
the Rocky Mountains,
like a ski slope mountain.
Ski
You know
Slope
what I mean?
Mountain.
Like,
Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to notice how the karma police come, and they're really good at this. They take out all the stuff from every single one of you, all the way down to little Jenna, in the most comical, most pleasurable, most efficient way. And as you're taking it out, I want you to notice the shifts inside of you, and watch them pull it out and put it in that big, enormous pile all the way over there. And I want you to line up right over there. Notice how lined up right next to them are your mom, your dad, and all the other stepdads, boyfriends, brothers, who did anything to any of those Jennas, including you.
mhm.
As you look at that pile, I'm just curious, is it bigger than you thought it would be? Smaller than you thought it would be? Around the same size?
About the same size.
Okay. Now, if you look at all that big pile, how much of it belongs to you, and how much of it was given to you by people who you never even asked for it, never wanted it, but didn't have a choice in the matter at the time?
In that pile specifically, I would say I didn't ask for any of it.
Okay. Would you like to give it back to those people who gave it to you?
I would, but I don't want the hurt to hurt them doing it. Like, I don't have a desire
Ask
to
little
hurt
Jenna
them.
what she needs.
I think she feels like she wants them to feel what it's felt like, if even for a moment, to know what it feels like to be me because of what they've done.
Can you do that for her?
Yeah.
Okay. So watch how the karma police takes all that junk, all that guck, all that muck, and gives it right back to every single person who gave it to you, most efficient way, so that they can know what it felt like, even if just for a second. Look at their faces. What do their faces look like over there?
I feel like I see my dad feeling the heaviness of it, but I feel like my mom is still like, just like, well, how dare you? And
It's okay.
just in denial of her part.
Shove it in some more. That's fine. You don't need to have her acceptance of it.
Okay.
The point is that you're giving it back to her because it's not yours. It never was yours. You never asked for it. You never wanted it. And you don't have to keep it. You can give it back, whether she likes it or not. She didn't ask you.
No.
And how's little Jenna feeling over there? She feels some feel of justice.
No, she still feels angry. It's like she wants her to feel remorse, and she just will not.
Start tapping on her.
Do I tap on me as if I'm tapping on her?
Tap on.
Okay.
Put one hand tapping on her, one hand tapping on you. She won't feel remorse.
She won't feel remorse.
She won't feel remorse.
She won't feel remorse.
I want her to feel remorse.
I want her to feel the remorse.
But she won't feel remorse.
But she won't feel remorse.
And if I let her feel remorse,
If I let her feel remorse,
then maybe she wasn't so bad.
then maybe she wasn't so bad.
But she was so bad.
But she was so bad.
All the conflicts around it.
All the conflicts around it.
Wanting to make her feel remorse.
Wanting to make her feel remorse.
Not being able to make her feel remorse.
not being able to make her feel remorse.
Just let it go.
Oh, I'm not kidding you.
What?
She is the queen of victim. The queen of victimhood. She will not feel remorse. She will feel like a victim. When the one time she says she's sorry, and she's crying, she's sorry, and yet she said something to, I can't remember what she said to that, but it led me to believe she wasn't believing what I was saying. Oh, if I did that, then I must have been a horrible mother, or I must have been. And I'm like, do you think I'm making this up? And she said, well, I can't. She goes, well, I can't see any reason why you would want to hurt me like this.
Shrink her down to be the size of little Jenna. What's going on in her life there? Keep tapping. What's going on in her life there?
When she was that age?
Mm-hmm.
She was probably her mom was probably having a little brother. I'm not sure the age difference.
Want little Jenna to go tell her what she needs to tell her.
You want what?
Little Jenna to go tell your mom when she's a little girl, the same age as Jenna, to tell her what she needs to tell her. At this point, she doesn't feel threatened anymore by her, does she? When she's just a little girl. So let her tell her what she needs to tell her.
I'm not sure. What she wants to tell her would mean I don't exist.
What do you mean?
Because what I heard her saying was, when you grow up, you're going to want to have children, but don't, because you're going to be a terrible mother.
Let's see if we can change your mother as a little girl. What does that little girl answer her?
I don't want to be a mother.
Little Jenna answer her back.
That's good. Because you won't be a good one.
Little Jenna's a pretty smart cookie, isn't she?
Yeah.
I want her to download into little Jenna's mother, when she's a little girl, all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the information that she's gained, right down to little Jenna's mother's when she was a little girl, so that she'll have it as she grows up. She'll be able to act differently. Let it go right down to the level of the DNA. So it can be expressed automatically, naturally, and effortlessly whenever she needs it, without even having to think about it. From the level of the DNA all the way to the level of action. Can't you do that?
I don't know. I just feel like like little Jenna's like wishing she came in through another parent, you know?
I understand, but what she's doing
Like,
over here is she's creating, if you please, an alternate reality.
okay.
A reality where her mother had all that knowledge, had all that wisdom to be a good mother, to protect her children. So that little Jenna, when she grows up, can feel like she's in the land of the bluebells. Protected, safe, and loved. It goes back to creating a better childhood. Never too late to create a good childhood.
Okay. I think I'm getting it.
I remember little Jenna's really powerful. When she finishes downloading all that information to her younger mom's DNA, I want her to have her play the timeline from that age when your mom was like 2.5, all the way till today, to your age. And have her go through rewriting all those scenes, all those times, all those occurrences and events, neutral and positive. And with that new DNA that she implanted into her mom's head, have it hop on over to the positive side. Creating that alternate reality, rewriting her personal history. From before she was even born. She's that powerful. So that she can have in her alternate reality the mom that she always wanted. The mom that protected her and kept her safe. And that's the only mom she has to keep now.
It's like for every time I'm getting a glimpse of being able to snatch that idea that I can impart this new DNA in my mom when she's little, and that I can create a alternate childhood, and I start to grab it, it's like there's another side of me that's coming in and saying, yeah, but how can you? Because look at this. How can you? Look at this.
Start tapping all the how can yous.
All the how can yous.
Wherever they come from.
Wherever they come from.
That conscious mind mine.
That conscious what?
Mind of mine.
That conscious mind of mine.
I let it go.
I let it go.
Safe to let it go. Is that a roll
It's
top
safe to
desk
let
over
it
there
go.
behind you?
No. Just a microwave cart. I wish it was a roll top desk. I like those, but this was a cheapo we found. It's been good to me, so I'll be happy about it.
Well, okay, that's good. I mean, I have roll top. From this side, it looks very similar to my roll top desk.
It does. It does.
Yeah. And I love my roll top desk.
I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
I love them too. I looked for years and years and years till I found one.
Yeah.
And then I did for a really cheap price. Someone was selling it secondhand, and I was so excited. It's like I ran over and said, "You can't sell it to anybody else. I want it."
Yeah.
Okay. Can't grasp it.
Can't grasp it.
See what my real childhood's like.
See what my real childhood's like. Well, it's not so much that. It's not so much that.
What is it?
Okay. It's like I get into that I can look, if I could create my new mom, like the DNA of the mom of my dreams, she would have been she would, first of all, she would have been Jewish. I would have been raised in a Jewish household.
Okay.
On Friday nights, Fridays, she would be prepping the house for a beautiful Shabbat dinner. You know, it's like it's like in my ideal mind, that's what I see in this loving, she was home with, home with us, caring for us. Like that was like her
So
dream role. Like
let
she
me give
always
you a
wanted
little
to be a
secret.
mom. And
Let me
yeah.
give you a little secret. When you converted into Judaism,
Mm-hmm.
your old family was no
Mm-hmm.
longer your old family. When
Okay.
you're counted, when they say a bracha, a blessing for you in synagogue, you are
Uh-huh.
now called Jenna, the daughter of Sarah, the mother of
Well, actually,
mothers.
my Hebrew name that I took on conversion is actually Rafaela.
So Raphaela, the daughter of Sarah,
Rafaela.
Raphaela bat
Mm-hmm.
Sarah.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
I were
That's what's on my conversion.
and if I were praying for you in synagogue, if God forbid you were sick, usually you say the name of the person and then the
Ah,
son of or the daughter of or the name of the mother. But for you, you would say the daughter of Sarah, Sarah Imenu, the
yeah.
mother.
Wow.
So in essence, she's your
Wow.
mom.
I never connected that. Wow. Wow.
And she certainly cared for her children.
Yes. And wanted her child so desperately.
Yep. So that's your mom.
Yes, my mom. I love that.
Now why don't you, with little Jenna, recreate your childhood, having Sarah, our foremother. You said it, forefather, foremother?
Poor mother. I'm not sure how you would say that.
I'm not sure either, but think about Avram as being your father and Sarah as being your mother, and how they would have taken care of you, all the love and care they would have put into you, the closeness to God they would have given to you. Can she do that now?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's
Talk
it.
me through, because what popped into my head was what kind of a mother would have sent Ishmael away and his mother?
The
You know
reason
what I
why
mean?
she sent Ishmael away was because he was bothering her son, making fun of him and badgering
Right.
him and bullying him.
Right. Thank you. I knew I had peace. I've always had peace about that, but for some reason that was like escaping me in that moment
And God agreed with her.
because she was protecting her son. Yes, and God agreed with her. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I
So,
told my husband, there's something about working with you that I have not experienced with other people, and I know it's because of who you are. And it's, I don't know how to explain it.
I'm glad.
I couldn't get where I need to go, I don't think, without working with somebody who's Jewish, who understands that part of me, of
Yeah.
why that's so important to me.
I get that.
One, I've had one therapist who was a male. I mean, I've had more than one therapist who was a male, but I had one therapist who was a male, and he was probably the one that I resonated with, the ones and he was Jewish. And it was when I was staying in a very abusive marriage, and I said that I would stay there until, my kids were grown, and he basically was telling me, you cannot stay in that. You will be dead if you stay there.
Right.
And I remember that, just somehow him saying that. And he gave me the other thing is he gave me the book When Bad Things Happen to Good People
Yeah, I have that book.
to read. And it was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. And that was years ago. I mean, years and years and years ago.
You might have
Yeah.
Jewish ancestors somewhere down along the way.
I'm sure that I do. I'm sure that I do. Well, for one, my background on my family tree, I have, and some people are saying this isn't the case. Some people are saying that it is, but there's supposedly some DNA evidence that the Cherokee Indian were actually Jewish. And they have found in the case in North Carolina, I believe it is, and they were writing in Hebrew.
Wow.
That's the writing that's on the walls in them. And I know for a fact that I have Cherokee ancestors, my grandmother.
Interesting.
So it's like there must be. But with this head covering journey, years ago when I did it, I felt very called to do it. But I felt like it was God telling me that I could do it too. Like, even though you're a convert, you deserve to do this. Because because I'm a convert, I have felt so like I don't belong. Like I don't belong. And because I did not convert through orthodoxy, I felt like he was saying me too. And then honestly, what happened was after those children were killed in that fire, do you remember that? Did you see that?
Which one?
It was in 2015, I believe, March of 2015. And you
Israel
may, I
or
don't.
in America?
No, it was in America. I was going to say you may not have heard it because it was in America.
Was it in New Jersey or something?
Yeah, 7 children died in a house fire because their hot plate had shorted out.
Yeah.
And the father couldn't be contacted because he couldn't have his cell phone on, and so he didn't know. I mean, all of these things, and I got so angry. And I wasn't feeling angry with God. I was feeling angry with man. You know what I mean? I just felt, and in that moment, like I took off my head covering and I thought, I will never put it back on. I will never put it back on. Because these people were following a mitzvah that they felt they were commanded to do that would keep them safe, because they're doing what God tells them to do, and God blesses those who follow what He tells them to do. And yet they had 7 children die, and I just felt so much anger. And I took it off. I thought, I will never put it back on again unless I have a bad hair day. And throughout the years, I attempted to put it on, and I hated the way I looked at it so bad. I'd take it right back off. And then we hosted a Muslim family that came to America back in October that my husband had met online. It was the husband and a couple of his children and a friend of the family. And I knew she would be covered, and I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. So I wrapped, but I wrapped in, traditional Jewish tickle. And something about that just kind of ignited me, but I still didn't start covering. And then I just started praying about it. And so in January of this year, January 1st, I got up and I covered my head. And I told my husband, I said, I cannot tell you why I'm doing this. I don't know. I just feel like I am supposed to do this. So I'm committing to a year of covering my hair. And we'll see. I'm like, maybe at the end of this year, I'll take my head covering off and I'll say, okay, I'm not doing it. It's not for me. Or maybe I will feel like, yes, this is what I want to do, and I will continue to do it. But I'm making this commitment to do it for a year because I've never made it for a whole year. And I told him, I told him I needed his support because it's not easy to do. It can be uncomfortable. It can be, difficult to get your wraps to work. I mean, there's things about it that doesn't necessarily make it easy. And he's like, okay. But the one thing I know is that when I wrap, I feel like it helps me to remember what kind of wife I want to be. It helps me to remember that he is my head. And so I'm able to, I don't know, it just like slows my thoughts down sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like where I might be harsh and snap, I stop, and I don't do that very often, but when I do, it reminds me to take a moment.
Right.
And so, but I'm still not clear as to why. I just know that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm doing it. But, oh, no, that's where I was going with this. But when I started praying and I just started saying, I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know what this is about. I don't know why I'm doing it. But I know that I had wrapped it in a hijab a couple of times because it was more comfortable than this kind of a wrap. But then somebody referred to me and thought I was a Muslim, and I didn't want to be referred to as a Muslim. And so I'm like, oh, no, we're not doing that. And so I put it, wrapped it back in the tickle, and I just told God, look, if you want me to do this, you're going to help me. And I remember that day, it wasn't painful at all.
Cool.
Like that day, it did not feel painful. It has since then, but that day it did not. But I remember having this like feeling come over me of, and I have been a Jewish wife in another life, in another time, that I have been a Jewish wife,
Mm-hmm.
and that I miss that, and that I didn't fully appreciate it in that life, because in that it was just who I was. It's just, I was born into a Jewish family. I had a wonderful Jewish husband, and it just was who I was. And now this time in this lifetime, that's not been the way it's been. And I'm missing it. Like I'm missing that and I'm craving it. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I want
I
you
don't
to go
know. That
back.
may sound all crazy.
It's fine. But I want you to go back to little Jenna. How is she
Mm-hmm.
doing now with her
Mm-hmm.
new mom and her new dad?
I feel like I can picture her being happy
Good.
and like reaching out to them.
Good. And go back to the scene in the car.
It's kind of muddy. And it was almost like I felt her protest.
Her protest about
Like
what?
they wouldn't have put me in that car.
I actually didn't mean that scene. I meant the scene of you as an adult the other day when your husband left you in the
Oh,
car.
okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought you meant when she was a child. She's like, wait a minute, they wouldn't
That's good.
have done that.
That's good. So now go back to you in the car when your husband left you there. What's going on there now? Bring little Jenna with you, just to remind you.
Okay.
What's going on?
Well, I started to be like playing in my mind where we were at, the house we were at, the people we were at, and how it reminded me of things in the past. And it was almost like she was like, that's not your past. You don't have any references of this.
Good.
You know what I mean?
Good for little Jenna.
Like she's like, you don't have any references to this. What do you mean?
Give her a big hug.
That's funny. She smushes my face.
Good. Excellent.
She really is a cute little tyke.
I'm sure she was. I'm sure she was. Now let's take it one step further. Imagine
Okay.
your husband going out to the grocery shop and you're at home
Oy. Okay.
What's going on? Keep little Jenna by your side. Just to remind you.
It feels like I still feel fearful about it.
How do you know?
I can feel it.
Have little Jenna tap on you. That you tap on you. This fearfulness.
It's fearfulness.
However I know it.
However I know it.
However I feel it.
However I feel it.
Whatever it means.
Whatever it means.
Whatever it presents.
Whatever it represents.
All the sensations.
All the sensations.
All the lack of love.
All the lack of love.
All the lack of recognition.
All the lack of recognition.
I let it go.
I let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It was in a different lifetime.
It was in a different lifetime.
I'm in a different life now.
I'm in a different life now.
I have new parents now.
I have new parents now.
Parents who love me.
Parents who love me.
Parents who protect me.
Parents who protect me.
Parents who keep me safe.
To keep me safe.
Even little Jenna knows that.
Even little Jenna knows that.
And she knows that there's no more references to the other place.
And she knows there's no more references to the other place.
That was all a different lifetime.
That was all a different lifetime.
Let everything else go.
We let everything else go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's safe to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It's time to let it go.
It's time to heal.
It's time to heal.
That's why God kept me alive.
That's why God kept me alive.
So I can get to this place.
So I can get to this place.
Have my new parents.
And have my new parents.
And start my new life.
And start my new life.
I'm safe.
I'm safe.
It's safe to be safe.
It's safe to be safe.
Grab your wrist. Breathe in. Blow out.
Peace. That's one problem with me being out here, is that he's out here.
No problem. Okay. Go back. Imagine your husband going out to the grocery store. What's going on?
Yeah, I still feel the fear of it.
Where do you feel it?
Here, and like in my throat.
No, it says a color. What's the color?
I don't recognize a color.
Okay, so just pull it out. Pull out the fear. Let Jill Jenna have to help you pull it out. She's really good at pulling things out. Aren't all 2.5-year-olds?
Right.
They pull out the edge of the sweater, unravel it all. They pull out the...
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, that's their job. They're just discovering the world.
Mm-hmm. Like discovering gravity by dropping their pasta on the floor.
That's right. Any way that they manage, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Got it all out? Not yet.
No, because honestly, I'm distracted up in my head thinking, why did I tell her I didn't convert through Orthodoxy? Like, that's like...
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I didn't say anything. It's all your projections.
It is. It is. I don't understand why it's a big deal to me anyway. Like, I don't know why that's a big deal.
That's all your projection, because I didn't say a word over here. I'm accepting you as you are.
I don't know why it's so important to me. I don't know why being Jewish is so important to me. I don't know what that's about.
Told you were probably Jewish in another lifetime.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Which would make sense with why, when I started studying, I'm like, I've always believed that. Probably because I really have always believed it. Hmm. I know that I'm not where I want to be with this yet.
It's okay, it's a journey.
But I still feel excited that we've even made that connection with her at 2.5. That no, Sarah and Abraham are your mom and dad. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's the first time I've seen her be excited.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what her job is this time is to sit you down every night before you go to sleep and tell you a story about your parents, Sarah and Abraham. Tell you stories about her growing up with them, what it was like.
I probably should write them down.
That's a good idea.
Like remember them.
That's a good idea.
And you always say at night before I go to bed, is it okay if I do it at other times
Yeah, sure.
in the day?
The reason why I say at nighttime is because if you go to sleep and right before you go to sleep you think good things, you're going to wake up with those same good things in your head. And when you wake up with those same good things in your head, your whole day is going to start differently. Yeah. So do it anytime.
And I do tend to try to do that, like go to sleep with the good thoughts in my head. Mm-hmm. But I find that I can write more frequently if I'm doing it in the daytime.
You want. Anytime you want. Just try to make sure that before you go to sleep, you get some of it in too.
Yeah. Okay.
Now let her make it as, as strong and as believable that you can believe it. Because she's been there. Okay. She knows it.
Yeah.
She just has to bring you aboard.
Right?
Right? A little bit of a change of tables over here, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like she's got to get the rebellious teenager on board and whatnot too.
That's right. It's a big job for a 2.5-year-old, but she's up to it. I have no doubt.
Yeah, I'm sure she is.
She's a strong girl.
She had to be, eh?
She's going to be a strong lady sometime.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So we'll speak next week. See how you're doing then.
Oh, okay, sounds good.
Don't forget, if you like this video, leave a like down below, subscribe to my channel, or subscribe to my newsletter. The address is right down below over there. Have a great week.